Star Trek Enterprise ran for 4 seasons from 2001 until 2005. Though not the shortest of spin-offs, it's received an undue amount of criticism and hate, largely due to its existence as a prequel rather than a sequel series. With the renewed current interest in the Star Trek franchise, now is a great time to revisit this short but colourful chapter of Trek history and find out just what the cast of the Enterprise is up to these days, starting with number 17, Seth MacFarlane. Well, this man needs very little introduction, hence us putting him at the top of the list. Easily one of the most outspoken Star Trek fans in Hollywood, Seth MacFarlane was once a crew member under Captain Archer, setting sail on the first Warp 5 vessel. MacFarlane is probably the most well-known name to have come out of the series, as of course he was already established before it began. Family Guy hit the air in 1999, almost instantly becoming a success despite setbacks in the beginning. MacFarlane went on the record asking for a bright and upbeat view of the future when Star Trek Discovery was announced, which was a plea that fell on somewhat deaf ears in year one, so he went ahead and made his own Star Trek, just without the name, and that show was called The Orville. He may have only appeared for about 7 minutes of screen time in total, but Seth's passion for Star Trek is legendary, as it has contributed to so much of the content that he has created. It's only right to include him on this list. Number 16, Ada Maris. Ada Maris is the stage name of Ada Marentes, and she appeared as Captain Erica Hernandez, commander of the Columbia. Information is slightly thin on the ground about Starfleet's second captain. She has appeared in very few productions since Enterprise wrapped in 2005. Most recently, she has appeared in 15 episodes of The Mayans MC, the spin-off from the highly successful Sons of Anarchy. This may be a case of checking back in with Maris after a couple of years. Number 15, Matt Winston. Matt Winston comes from Hollywood royalty, though not from the acting pool. He is the son of special effects wizard Stan Winston. He got his start back in 1993 with an episode of Married with Children and has continued to work since then. He has quite a varied CV in the acting world, making guest spots on the TV series such as Chuck's 6 Feet Under and Boston Legal throughout the years. His role on the Enterprise came to an end when his storyline and that of the temporal Cold War was nixed due to a lack of audience interest. He appeared in Fight Club in 1999, and more recently he appeared in Zodiac. He's still acting and still appearing in films here and there. He's even appeared in Little Miss Sunshine and I Now Pronounce You Chucky and Larry as well. Number 14, John Fleck. John Fleck was something of a Star Trek veteran when he took on the role of Silik, the Suliban agent in Enterprise. He had already portrayed a Romulan in The Next Generation and in Deep Space Nine, along with a Cardassian, a Karima, and whatever Abaddon was in Star Trek Voyager. With his very distinct style of speech, he was perfectly suited to a villain role in the show. He appeared for the first time without any makeup or prosthetics in Season 4 opener Stormfront, where he finally turned to help the crew of the Enterprise. Since he finished up on the show, he's appeared in Carnival in 2003, which was then followed by a big break, not returning to the small screen until 2013, where he appeared in True Blood. Most recently, he appeared in Seth MacFarlane's The Orville as a Krill ambassador, adding another Star Trek connection to the show. While he would be most well known to Star Trek fans as Silik, his deep role as Koval in Deep Space Nine is also extremely memorable, torturing the poor Dr. Bashir for information. This man is very good at being bad. Number 13, Stephen Culp. Stephen Culp took something of a demotion when he was sent back in time to play Major Hayes in Enterprise's 3rd season. He had previously been the first officer of the Enterprise E for a very short time, though to be fair, Commander Martin Madden's scenes were all sent to the deleted pile. Such is life. Thankfully, he had plenty of screen time as the leader of the Mako soldiers that came aboard to protect the crew on their search for the Xindi. Whilst unfortunately Major Hayes didn't make it home again, Culp has continued acting in the years that have passed. On leaving Enterprise, he moved almost immediately to the West Wing, where he played Speaker of the House Jeff Hafley. He also appeared on ER, well, who hasn't, and went on to what is probably the most well-known role, that of Dr. Rex Vanderkamp in Desperate Housewives. Number 12, Scott MacDonald. This actor, most well known to Trek fans as Commander Dolim, the Xindi reptilian from the 3rd season, has actually appeared in the first 4 live-action spin-offs from Star Trek. He first appeared as Tosk in Deep Space Nine before going on to play a Romulan in both that and The Next Generation and a Jem'Hadar. He did get to appear briefly as a human in the pilot of Star Trek Voyager. He was Ensign Rollins, who was given command of the ship while the senior staff were away. Since Enterprise, he's had a recurring role on Carnival and Threshold, also appearing along with half of Star Trek, it seems, in Boston Legal. His film work includes the hilarious Jack Frost horror films, and his biggest film likely to date is Jarhead, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. Number 11. Randy Oglesby. Randy Oglesby is one of the few actors in Star Trek to have played 7 characters across the franchise. He has appeared in The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise so far, though he's probably most well known for his portrayal of the Xindi primate Degra. He's bounced through a few genres along the way, but he's stuck to science fiction and fantasy too, appearing in Buffy the Vampire Slayer spin-off Angel, as well as the X-Files True Blood and Bones. Most recently, he's appeared in the Netflix series Godless, though one of his most memorable lines comes from his brief appearance in the film Independence Day. He plays Mike Dodge, the man in the cafe who asks Randy Quaid if aliens had done sexual things to him. Classic. Number 10. Vaughn Armstrong. Armstrong is another of the prolific actors who have appeared in The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise. He has portrayed a manner of aliens, though he is most recognizable as Admiral Maxwell Forrest. Armstrong was one of the first Klingons to appear in The Next Generation back in Season 1 episode Heart of Glory. He had originally auditioned for the role of Commander Riker along with Jeffrey Combs. He's had many TV credits to his name, both preceding and following Star Trek, so you can bet your bottom dollar he's also been in ER as well. He's also appeared on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, CSI, and Modern Family. He's a super talented musician, and along with several other Trek alumni, is a member of the Enterprise Blues Band. He plays a special variation of the ukulele, something he himself has coined the banjolele. Alright. He has jokingly credited himself as the creator of both Klingon Gut Bucket and Andorian blues music. Armstrong is still working today, with his most recent credit being with Russell Sprout in Unbelievable. Number 9. Gary Graham. As the Vulcan ambassador Saval, it took a little while for fans to come round to Graham's character on Enterprise. He seemed to be stonewalling Starfleet's attempts to explore the galaxy at every turn to remind them of how little they knew. It would take T'Pol standing up to him before he showed any sense of unwinding. As the show went on, Saval became, if not warmer, then certainly more sympathetic towards humans. This was thanks in large part to the way Graham portrayed his evolution. This was not his introduction to the Star Trek universe though. He had previously appeared on screen in Voyager's 2nd season as Ocampa Tanis. He had also been considered for both the roles of Commander Sisko and Captain Janeway before it was decided to make Janeway a woman. Post-Trek, he has kept very much in contact with his Trek co-stars. Number 8. Jeffrey Combs. Jeffrey Combs is a Star Trek actor who needs very little introduction. This gentleman has been all over the timelines over the years. He's appeared as Vortawayan, as Ferengi Brunt, both on Deep Space Nine and once in the same episode. Those are just a couple of the roles he has handled over the vast span of Trek. Apart from his many Trek appearances, he's also continued to work in other shows and films. His voice gave children nightmares as the reimagined Scarecrow in Batman the Animated Series, and he too has appeared in the comedy film Unbelievable with many other Trek alumni, showing that all these years after his Trek appearances, he still truly enjoys the connection to the Trek universe and family. Number 7. Linda Park. As the young and naive Ensign Hoshi Sato, Linda Park gained recognition in Hollywood. She had only appeared in a small number of on-screen roles before this. One of them was Jurassic Park 3 though. She stayed with Enterprise for all 4 seasons of its run. Once Enterprise had finished, she threw herself back into her theatre roots. At one point, she was living with and dating Tom Hardy, and together they founded their own theatre company, although this was short-lived. She's an active student of ballet and other forms of dance as well, continuing to act in various stage productions. Much like many of the rest of her Star Trek co-stars, she has appeared in the comedy film Unbelievable. In 2018, she gave birth to her first child named Cassius and has recently been seen in the detective series Bosch. Number 6. Anthony Montgomery. Montgomery had auditioned to be in Star Trek twice before. Though unsuccessful, his second audition made enough of an impression that he was actually asked to come and read for the role of Travis Mayweather. He had appeared in a small number of roles before his time on Enterprise, featuring in the hilariously cheesy Leprechaun in the Hood, part of the ever-expanding Leprechaun horror series. I mean, that film has to be seen to be believes, but his work after Star Trek took a sharp turn left. He moved out from in front of the camera and began putting together a documentary and working with disadvantaged children in his hometown of Indianapolis. He also began to work on stage, both as an actor and as a stand-up comment. He then went on to release an EP, as he's a pretty good rapper. He's appeared in several independent films, including I'm Through with White Girls, The Inevitable Undoing of Jay Brooks. Perhaps his most frequent work after Star Trek has been as an actor on General Hospital, where he played Dr. Andre Maddox until 2019. He's another guest in the film Unbelievable. Number 5. John Billingsley. Dr. Phlox is probably Billingsley's biggest continual part to date, though he has had starring roles in other vehicles along the way. During his time on Enterprise, he appeared in a tongue-in-cheek episode of Stargate SG-1 where he plays a Star Trek-obsessed scientist. He also appeared in a Star Trek-themed episode of Roswell, playing himself along with Jonathan Frakes. Once Enterprise wrapped, Billingsley has continued to keep quite busy with various roles throughout both film and television. He appeared in the disaster movie 2012, working as one of the technicians attempting to save mankind. On television, he continued to stick with a lot of sci-fi shows, including the revival of Twin Peaks and True Blood. Most recently, Billingsley has returned sort of to a Roddenberry-esque future, taking part in Seth MacFarlane's The Orville. There, he plays a rival to Trek alumni and fellow Doctor Robert Picardo. Number 4. Dominic Keating. Dominic Keating is another actor who has not only been around and working for some time before appearing on Enterprise, but like Anthony Montgomery, what would seem like a failed audition for Voyager would land him a role as Reed on Enterprise. His clipped English accent was instantly recognizable on the show, adding an air of upper class and disdain to sometimes silly goings-on with the rest of the crew. His relationship with Tucker was one of the more interesting friendships to blossom on the show. Once Enterprise wrapped, he actually auditioned for a role in 2009 J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. He said that he auditioned for the role of Kirk's uncle, though he was unsuccessful. He did, however, get to work with Zachary Quinto on the series Heroes, along with George Takei and Nichelle Nichols. Keating continues to appear at conventions, often with co-star Connor Trinneer. Recently, they've been taking part in Zoom charity fundraisers. Speaking of Connor, number 3. Connor Trinneer. Trip deserved better. Connor Trinneer appeared in all 98 of the Enterprise's episodes, quickly becoming one of the most popular characters on the show. Much like the rest of the cast, he was disappointed in the series finale, wherein his character was killed for no other apparent reason than to close the show with a bang. However, that aside, Trinneer was one of the mainstays of Enterprise, solidified as one of the new trio of stars, the other two being T'Pol and Archer. He was full of quips but knew how to get serious when the time called for it. Much of the third season is dominated by his slow journey to make peace with the death of his sister. After Enterprise's cancellation, he moved over to another popular sci-fi show, Stargate Atlantis. There, he played the Wraith-human hybrid dubbed Michael. He goes from a semi-protagonist to out-and-out villain on his time on the show, before being killed by being pushed to his death. Such is life. Since then, he has continued to act on many different shows, returning to the Stargate universe in the online series Stargate Origins. He's also taken part in Unbelievable and appeared on Family Guy. Should Enterprise ever find a way to get resurrected, surely the first port of call would be to fix the tragic death of Trip, a crime that needs to be rectified. Number 2. JOLENE BLALOCK. Starfleet's first officer, T'Pol took a long time to warm to the crew of the Enterprise. During her journey, few could have seen how she would have come to be such an integral part of the family, and yet by the close of the first season, it's T'Pol herself who argues that the mission should be allowed to continue. JOLENE BLALOCK was an absolute dream casting in the role. She was both serious and knew how to be cuttingly witty when the situation called for it. She's also technically still able to appear in Strange New Worlds, thanks to her extended Vulcan lifespan. Fingers crossed. Since the ending of the show, BLALOCK has appeared in several smaller roles, such as a guest spot on Stargate and a role in the direct-to-video sequel, Starship Troopers 3. Life, however, has taken BLALOCK on a different path. She met her future husband Michael Rapino whilst working on Star Trek, and she proposed to him while they're on holiday with their families. They have 3 children together and have established the Rapinoe Foundation. One of the foundation's main goals is to protect and uplift underserved people worldwide. Good. BLALOCK's career may have moved entirely away from the screen now, and though she's undertaken a very worthy set of causes, it would be lovely to see her back in the ears, if only as a treat. Number 1. Scott Bakula. As the first captain to travel to strange new worlds, Bakula's captain Jonathan Archer had big shoes to fill. There would be and were instant comparisons to Kirk, which was in fact met head-on by producers who wanted Enterprise to be something of a callback to that original series. Bakula brought a bit of sci-fi history with him to the show though. He'd been the lead actor on Quantum Leap for 4.5 years, carrying that show almost solo, and the schedule for Enterprise was not looking any less busy. In fact, it was so hectic that he had to have a stipulation that filming finished by 6 PM each Wednesday just so he could have dinner with his family. He attended his first convention in the year 2006, 1 year after Enterprise was cancelled. As the years have gone by and audiences have warmed a little more to the show, Archer has been worked into both the Kelvin universe films and into Star Trek Discovery. Bakula himself continues to act. He has a long history with musicals and cabaret, is an accomplished singer and performer, and also able to rival William Shatner for his horse riding skills. He's gone on to appear in several films and other TV shows as well, with current role seeing him as the lead on NCIS New Orleans, which is now airing its 7th season. So there you have it, Star Trek Enterprise. Where are the cast now? Have you got any other nuggets about them? Pop them in the comments below if you do. I want to see them. Don't forget to subscribe and like us here at Trek Culture as well, and also check us on Twitter at Trek Culture, obviously. I'm Marcus Bronzy on Twitter, MARCUSBRONZY. See you in a bit.